Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by Big League Chew. This is episode 312. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin. I'm here with my co-hosts, Nate Reyes and Ryan Ripken. Gentlemen, today is a big day.
Huge day.
Gentlemen.
Monumental.
Good to see you.
I mean, Nate, this get-up that you've got going,
Hey, you know what? It's a public service announcement, and I figured I look the part, right?
You're treating it with the dignity that this moment deserves.
I mean, that's what this is about. That's what this is about, you know?
We're excited.
That's what you got to do.
Kyle and I have been, and I can't wait for the rest of the listeners to hear this, but we've been talking. Kyle and I have been waiting for this moment. I mean,
a lot of people have been waiting for this moment, and it's finally here. I'm
a man of my word,
and I will. Credit to you, man. Credit to you. And I will say this outfit that you've got, this ensemble you've got, this was unprovoked. I did not recommend this. Ryan did not recommend this. In fact, I don't think I saw anybody comment or DM saying that they wanted this, But you showed up.
You know, sometimes you just got to remind people that you're a professional and that you're all about giving the right message at the right time,
in the right way, in the right outfit.
Well,
exactly.
Well, you got half of it down so far. The outfit, the get up, checks the box, but now obviously it's the second part, the most important part, and really why we're here today. I mean, Kyle, we're not really here, at least
nobody cares about me or Ryan today. Literally, no. Nate could have hopped on this episode solo, and it would have been fine.
I kind of wish he did for the beginning. I really did, but here we are. Nate, this is your moment.
I say we milk this out a little bit. Let's stretch this out a little bit. Well, for those who aren't familiar, let's just give a little backstory here. If this is your first episode,
if you're not familiar, then what are you doing?
Well, no.
If you're not familiar, you're going to get familiar right now.
Real quick. Yeah, but if this is your first episode, welcome, first of all. Second of all, the backstory here is that back in during the last episode of the offseason, it was the week of opening day, because we had a delayed opening day this season. It was our hot takes and predictions episode for the season of 2022. And one of my storyline hot takes was that, admittedly, it was more than just Pujols. I said Albert Pujols and Miguel Cabrera are both going to hit 20-plus home runs this year. And then you and I, because I went back and listened to it, we came to the conclusion at the same exact moment that would put Pujols over 700. He needed, I think, 21 at the start of the season. I said he's going to hit over 20, which would put him exactly, and we both said at the same exact moment, we said 700. And as the season's gone along, I haven't said all that much. I've kept an eye on it, but as we've gotten closer and closer...
Oh, yeah, you've never said anything. Yeah.
If you'd let me finish, I was going to say, as we've gotten closer, I've started to bring it up more and more, and I think you were starting to feel the heat because you were of the belief that it just simply was not going to happen. I said, okay, let's see it play out. And as we've gotten closer, a couple home runs in a game here, a solo shot there, apparently one of the best weeks of his career not too long ago. It's led us to this exact moment, and we said that if he were to do it, and you may have even volunteered this. I think you even volunteered and said that you would pen the letter of apology to one Mr. Albert Pujols. And so we're here, and this is your time. So however you would like to present this, however you would like to open up the floor here, this is your time, this is your moment, this is your day.
Let me button this up real quick.
Yeah, take your time.
And if you're not watching this on YouTube, I would highly recommend maybe just pop on over there just for the full effect.
Get the tie figured out there. All right. Thank you all for coming today. Appreciate it. We ready?
The floor is yours, Nate.
All right.
The floor is yours.
All right. Dear Albert, I write this to you with honest and noble intentions. It takes a big man to admit his mistakes, and today I am that big man. You started the 2022 season 21 home runs shy of history. With a combination of many sleepless nights, extensive research, and a lack of common sense, I deliberately predicted you'd fall short of said history. As I'm sure you're aware, many people in my camp advised against this. But yet, here I stand today. Who are we without our word, right? With 2 home runs in April, 2 in May, 0 in June, I thought my prediction was safe. Little did I know, Uncle Rob had one last trick up his sleeve for you. Since no one else will stand up, I again will be that big man. Suddenly, your leg kick added an extra 250 feet to your home runs, and no one seemed to notice. It's clear to me those balls marked for authenticity gave you the extra mustard you needed. But I digress. Today, I'm here to say, you, without any other outside factors, showed me how true Hall of Famers are defined. Though you battled through flat feet, tested many buttons at the bottom of your jersey, lost out on countless early bird special opportunities, you accomplished greatness, and for that, we are all grateful, including me. As I read these words, I ask for your forgiveness, and I also ask for your understanding. My fandom has never wavered. Despite what you've heard from my overly sarcastic co-host and the thirsty for chaos chasers, congratulations on all your feats, and I hope to see a few more magical moments in the final postseason ride. From the bottom of my heart, I regret nothing. With respect and stubbornness, Nate the Great Reyes. P.S. Please don't send Yachty after me. Thank you.
Well, Ryan, let's
Hey,
clap it up here. Let's clap it up. Good job.
Nate, kudos for the letter. There were so many ways to unpack this.
Let me just preface this by saying I'm clapping for the mere fact that he showed up with a letter.
Yes.
Now, what he said in the letter we can unpack, but I'm simply congratulating and applauding
from
him
the heart. From the heart.
That he brought the letter. Because I thought there was a part of me that thought he wouldn't do it.
No,
but then he sent the text. He sent the text to the group and said the letter's done. I said, all right, now we go.
He did without being asked. He already had it. That's great. Again, yes. What's emphasized?
Of my word.
The clapping was for being a man of your word. Now, what came out of your mouth?
Hey,
what we heard. Woof.
There was a lot of subtle, to put it lightly, subtle accusations just embedded throughout.
Do you even
that
call
was from the heart apologetic right there.
Very, yeah. A backhanded.
Is apologetic the right word?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think that apologetic
is bold the right word?
That to me is like a backhanded compliment. It's like, hey, congrats, but all these things happened. That's why.
I don't think that's the case.
The only thing that I took away from that is it sounded like Nate was just congratulating Albert on passing up the opportunity for some senior citizen meals. That's all I gathered from that. I don't know what Ryan's calling it.
It takes
a
a lot of
compliment.
sacrifices. It takes a lot of sacrifices.
Where does the compliment come into play is my question.
I mean, I said what I said.
Okay, so I just want to dive into this real quickly because we were wondering where you were going to go. We had you asked about a couple specific stats. Not exactly how I expected this to go, but let's just be honest. I think for the longest time, for when I got onto this conversation, was, that's where my involvement when we were talking about that hey, great players find a way. And Albert found a way. So, Nate, question.
He found a way.
Oh yeah, don't use that. Don't use that language with Nate because he'll run with that.
Okay, we're gonna take
he found a way.
Okay,
that's for sure.
So, did Albert earn it?
I said without any outside factors. I don't know what more. You want from me.
Let's unpack this little tidbit. The Uncle Manfred had one more trick up his sleeve. Please explain to me your thought process behind him putting pen to paper for that.
Hey, look, let's just say, if we're paying attention, which I hope all of us are, I've watched it on both sides. A certain Mr. Aaron Judge is chasing a milestone. And when he's up to bat, different balls come out. Those balls are marked to make sure that they can be authenticated if they are caught by a fan. So, who's to say those balls are the same? Who's to say they're different? I don't know.
Side note here, I think they may have forgotten to put those balls into circulation this weekend because, yikes.
Yeah, yikes. Sweeping the Red Sox. Real rough weekend.
You can't hit one. My point exactly. Sweeping the Red Sox, you're telling me you can't contribute just one or two to that onslaught?
Yeah, just hitting casual
well, hey,
three.
They may have forgotten the baseballs.
Hey, you know what? So what you're saying would be one of the bigger controversies ever in Major League. This is the integrity that we're talking about, and I'm just calling erroneous because Albert Pujols. I said it earlier, and I think Kyle would agree. Sometimes, Kyle also got on to the conspiracy, but we'll table that for right now.
I play both camps. I'm in the best possible position, and I love it. And I'm not going to apologize for it. I'll play both camps. I'll play both camps like a fiddle.
Let me be in camp
incredible.
integrity. Let's be in camp integrity right now. Population Ryan. So I think what Albert did, you can't, unless anything ever comes out, the ball switching out, come on now. But you can't knock great players find great moments. I am just so happy that he did this. Now, I think we all are in agreement that we thought Aaron Judge would hit 61 before Pujols got to 700, if he did. And not only did he get to 700, he did it. He had another multi-home run game to do it in LA.
Yeah.
That's
deep into those stands.
Well, that was deep into the hanging breaking ball, and he did not miss it. So Nate.
Yeah.
But Nate, isn't as a fan, aren't you happy to see it happen?
Of course. Absolutely. I've been saying that from the jump. Nobody wanted to hear me.
Well, no.
I'm an Albert fan. Who doesn't root for Albert?
You said no such thing.
You
have said
wanted
it
him
the
to
entire
reach it.
time.
You wanted it. Okay, I will defend you on that. You wanted him to reach it.
Yeah.
However, it's like an excuse of why you're that guy right now, where it's like, well, yeah, like congrats. It's it's like you play the other team, and when you give credit to the other team for playing well, you go, well, we were terrible. They didn't do anything to win the game. We lost it. Like you're that guy right now. It's not credit to your opponent.
Maybe a little bit.
Is that just fair to say? Like that's the vibe I gave.
How do we go from wall scrapers to going 30 rows deep in left center? That's all I want to know. And if the MLB has come out and admitted that they've used different balls for different games, for different matchups, why would they do this any differently?
Yeah, I'm gonna lean into the conspiracy camp here.
No.
As I said, I play both sides here. I'm a man of integrity, but I explore all avenues. I'm with Nate on this one. The balls that this man just decided to hit out of seemingly nowhere. Well, it wasn't nowhere. We were getting down to crunch time during the regular season. We go, we might need to tweak some things here. Like, you can't tell me that there wasn't a significant change in trajectory, in distance.
Jump now. Jump.
I don't know what to say to you guys.
I'm not discrediting the other 680 something. I'm not discrediting that.
As
The guy deserves to be at 700 for sure. Would he have gotten there this year without the help of Uncle Robbie? I don't know.
Okay, since we're camp conspiracy here, Nate, I think we need to pose the question to Ryan. Ryan, if you believe that the game is so filled with integrity, and I say this with complete, genuine curiosity, what are your thoughts on the thing that Nate already mentioned here in Major League Baseball's announcement within the last year, coming out and saying that they've used 2 different types of baseballs in previous games?
So here's the thing. I know it's at some point I understand the biggest part, right, was when the postseason a few years ago. Is that the one like we're specifically referring to? Because I remember players talking about how they felt the grip and it was a different type of feel with the ball.
Said it all year.
Okay. So that was that's the one we're referring to, right? And there's no doubt offense sells. And I guess, and I'm not naive to the fact that the game is clean in every component, because it's not. I mean, look at the history of the game. In any aspect, like there has been cheating or scandal or things going on through years. But I'm a person in this day and age that I want to give the benefit of the doubt to the specific players. Because if it were true that MLB baseball or Major League Baseball was changing balls consistently and having a direct impact on the game, that is a larger issue that would need to be addressed. But clearly it hasn't. But if that is the case...
Why do they own Rawlings?
Because they have a lot of money.
Interesting.
And they want more of it, I would make an argument for. And how are you going to do that? By bringing more eyeballs to a spectacle such as this. And how are you going to make this spectacle play out?
Well,
How do you get the same production of the steroid era without the steroids?
Oh, it's not a timeout. It is not even close to the same production. No
it's going to get there eventually.
For a man that's 58 years old, I would argue that...
Are you guys aware in basketball, like, hey, timeout, and they do like a 30 or 20 second or full? Give me a little 20, 30 second timeout. Okay, you want full? I'll go full here.
We're going
timeout.
full.
Full timeout here. The steroid era will never be that will never be replicated.
No,
ever.
And they're not going to do the same thing.
No.
But how do you get that? How do you get the same eyes?
That was guys hitting 350 with 890 home runs, it felt like, per year. Like, the years had historically happened, and that's what we're talking about now. What Aaron Judge is doing, 60 home runs. You take out the steroid era, that's been 60 years for this to happen. Like, think about all the great players that have still played in the last 20 years. I think whether or not Pujols, if you're going to say in the conspiracy camp, that is not Pujols' problem. And so my thing is, he went out there and he put good swings on the ball. And I think on the majority of those home runs that are way deep, even if you say that they were doctored, they're still home runs. Those balls that he still hit that went deep into the stands, those balls are still gone, in my opinion. So I just don't want to take away from the player, because I think we get wrapped up, and I get it. We got Camp Hopper Kyle and just
I like that.
Nate.
That could grow on me a little bit.
Camp Hopper Kyle?
Camp Hopper Kyle.
I'm here to expose.
All right.
I'm here to expose.
Speaking of camp hopping, I'm gonna step back into the realm of integrity here, and let's look again. Let's readdress Nate's letter here. Nate, as a man of integrity, I myself, as well as Ryan,
myself as well.
Well,
yes.
Questionable. As a man of integrity, the accusations that I mentioned that are so subtly embedded throughout this letter, if you're claiming to be a man of integrity, why wouldn't you just come out and say what it is that you so clearly want to say?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Because to me, it's rather lacking integrity when I hear these accusations thrown throughout.
I'm here to expose. I can't just come out and say it. I got to lead you to the water a little bit. That's my job.
That's really what we've been doing up until this point, and I feel like today is now that we've reached 700, I feel like now is the time to really just lay it all out there, but yet you're still hiding behind these faux accusations. So that's all I'm curious about is why we're not just saying it like it is.
There's no hiding. He got to 700. I apologized. I just wanna ask you to take a strong look at how he got to 700. That's all.
How about this real quickly? If this letter got to Albert, which we'll find a way to get it to, if I have to
he's already got it.
He's actually probably tuning in. I have him on call.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when he reads this letter, what's his response? Does he accept your apology? Does he say, thanks for...
I think...
Does he say, how did he find out about the leaked script that Major League Baseball has been...
I think...
crafting?
He would say, Nate hit the nail on the head. That's what I would say. Are we going to question the fact that he tested those bottom buttons on the jersey? I don't think we can question that. The flat feet? We can't question that. Hey, all I'm here to do is to expose the truth. I'm here for honesty. Let's just be honest. That's all.
Oh, sugar.
Speaking of apologies, I mean, Kyle's up next. He's got to apologize to the Mets real soon.
Well, you said it yourself that I didn't need to apologize.
I said yet. No, I said yet.
Yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think there's a lack of clarity on what's going to warrant an apology. What kind of outcome.
If they win the division, I think you most likely need to apologize.
All right. I'll go full-fledged apology if they win the division.
Is that on the record? Are we on the record right now with that? It's an apology if the Mets
feel
win
like this is a verbal contract.
As a man of integrity who does not meddle in conspiracy whatsoever, I am on the record as saying that I'll apologize. Full-fledged apology if the Mets win the division.
I mean, overall, you had them basically missing the playoffs.
I did.
All year.
Absolutely
So,
did.
I mean, can we extend the realm of requirements on this apology? Can we say, I mean, they're in, they've clinched. So I think we need that apology anyway. No matter the division winning or not. They're in. You were wrong.
They're
Just
in,
like
but
me.
I think this changes the degree of apology that you're going to get from me.
All right, that's
if
fair.
they, like I said, if they win the division outright, you'll get suit and tie, you'll get all that.
Ooh.
You'll get. I might even handwrite it. We'll see. Who knows? If I have the time.
Please handwrite it. I would love to see a handwritten. You know what? This day and age, I don't think people, technology.
I don't have
You don't have a
paper.
pen and paper anymore?
No. Who has paper anymore?
Yeah, that is a weird thing. Like you'd be surprised at how little
you
paper
find-
you have nowadays. Like sometimes I need paper, and I'm like, we don't have any paper.
I will say that is true. But if you think crazy, I remember in classes writing all the time. Hey, write out. Like I remember it was about learning about history. They're like, well, talk about in early American history and the perspective of one of the colonists. And write about
back when Albert's career started.
back with the colonists, yes.
But so my girlfriend even was telling me that she did the pen pal system, and she would write with her friend by letter, and
It's adorable.
it is
Adorable.
That is. Where is that nowadays? So Kyle, you're gonna write a letter because
I have Post-it notes.
I'll go buy a piece of paper, or if somebody wants to mail me one, that'll be good.
One
too.
singular piece of paper.
yeah.
I'll go. So here's the thing. And this listener is going to hate me, but I just realized that we did not open up. As I was giving the backstory, I meant to play the voicemail prior to the backstory, but I didn't play the voicemail. So do we still want to play the voicemail? And then
Give me the
maybe
voicemail.
you can give your closing thoughts on the matter?
That's fair.
Yep. Get
All
it
right.
out there.
Let's go through the voicemail, and you can give your closing thoughts.
Hey, fellas. So it's Jacob from Pennsylvania, and this one is from Mr. Nate Reyes. Nate, you slept. You hibernated on the guy. Absolutely just forgot about his existence half the time. And you know, it's apology time. It is time we pay the man his dues because 700 has come and gone. We're looking at 701, 702, 703. No, he's not on the roids. He is a king, and he deserves the respect. We'd like to hear an apology. Love you, boys.
All right. With that said, you've read your apology. The apology's on record.
703, 704. I think we need to relax on that a little.
We're making a push.
We got 701 max.
We got about 10 games left.
We're going back to regular
10
baseball.
games left. Why not?
Yeah.
Got about 10 games left. Let's make it work. So
I'll
with
give
that
him
said,
702. I'll give him 702.
Okay. So the apology's on record. This is your last chance for the floor is open. Closing thoughts to address any, again, subtle accusations that were just laced throughout that apology.
An amazing career. It's just, just look at the facts. That's it. Just look at the facts.
Can we say it's safe to say though as well that we might not see 700 home runs for a very long time?
Who's the next closest active?
See, so this is
Miggy?
it's far off. And so here's my point. I know we got the conspiracy thoughts, as cryptic as Nate wants to be, even though it's kind of out there, but he should just say it. What we're not seeing.
Yeah, Nate's biggest takeaway here. Nate's a coward. He won't say it. He won't say it straight up.
Just straight up say it. But I'll straight up say this:
Balls are juiced. Balls are juiced.
Was that hard to just say?
Nate literally sent the message the night that it happened. Said, "Yeah, those balls are." I think he said like 1,000% juiced. So he said it. I just wanted him to get it out on air.
Balls are juiced.
Absolutely. Now it's on record. Like that's on record.
Yeah.
But hey, that's what you were just saying for the last 20 minutes without saying it. So, but here's the thing. History speaking, 4 players have done this, guys, and safe to say I don't know if we're going to see this for a while, just given how the game is. So I didn't want the moment to be taken away about how great it is that Albert's done, despite if you think that the balls were changed out, and I'm still arguing it doesn't matter. Those balls were gone anyway.
Nate couldn't care less about the moment. He just took a nice hot steamy dump on the moment. He doesn't care. He just wants the facts to be known.
Shout out to friend of the pod Greg Ansinger for that prediction. Did you see that?
Yeah, he shot himself in the foot by going with the matchup. I thought that was a little too much, but I mean, if you could settle with the date.
Did you see that, Ryan?
Opponent?
No, I didn't see it.
He said end of September against the Dodgers in LA, and he said the matchup would be against Kershaw.
Oh, well, that's so hard to predict the matchup, but
he said that back in what, March, April? Good for him.
Yeah,
so what you're saying is if I ever do a futures bet, he's the guy we need to go to.
I think Greg's the guy.
Greg, unbelievable prediction.
Greg's a man.
No, I think the dominance of that. What was that 10-year period, 11-year period? It was 30 and 100 every year, right? Something like that. It was like 11, 12 years. It was crazy.
Yeah.
The RBIs I feel like are now kind of being chastised in many ways, where it's no longer that valuable stat that we're hanging on to, right? Like everyone's just it's getting into that camp of like wins for pitchers, where it's circumstantial and it's being devalued. But I think the overall fear for that long of a time, I don't know if we see that again. And it's a guy that was comfortable taking that base hit the other way, the same way he was comfortable putting it 15 rows deep. And you don't really have that same type of approach anymore. It's hard to see it.
That was really nice.
I like that version of Nate. That was well thought out.
Yeah.
I mean, your letter was well thought out too, but
It was well thought out.
All of it's well thought out, but that
take-
was more of a compliment I thought I would hear in the letter. But I'm not surprised with the result.
Yeah, I can't do that.
we got to talk about. I mean, well, before we move on, any closing thoughts here? I feel like we've put a bow on this. Any closing thoughts? Ryan, any chance you want to hop into the conspiracy camp?
No.
Did you see the guy?
Nope,
Did you see the
not
guy
camp
took off
hopping.
with the ball?
I saw he got it authenticated.
Yeah, he bounced. Offers were made, is what I read. Offers were made, and he still left.
So he clearly didn't listen to the last pod.
That's an expensive baseball. But Albert said he didn't really. He was like, you know what, fans are that's what they do. They catch foul balls, they catch home runs. It's their right.
Yeah, he's probably going. I didn't really earn this the right and honest way. So like,
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't mean that much to
like,
me.
do I
No,
really
I
want
didn't say that.
white
I didn't
tennis
say
ball? Do you
Oh,
want to give me that
gosh.
tennis
Okay.
ball back, or
All right. Let me know when we start the next segment, and I'll
And
come back.
was there a Super Ball with some laces painted over it? I don't
What
know.
are we
A
talking about
racquetball?
next? Get me out of here. What are we talking about?
why is it
Oh,
whistling?
man.
Is that a Nerf ball?
Why is there a tail coming out of it? Let's
what-
talk about
What else happened in baseball? Go ahead, Kyle.
Don Mattingly said deuces to the Marlins. Nate's of the belief, so he said in the group text that he felt as though this would not have been the case had Derek Jeter still been in control of the situation. Do we still stand by that, Nate?
I still stand by the fact that the Marlins are not ready to compete. I still stand by that. I think that's the only reason Jeter leaves, and especially with his remarks about saying, this isn't what I signed up for. What else could that mean? What else could that be talking about? Donnie
didn't-
Baseball gets the short end of the stick because I don't know why. I don't get it. Marlins fans are kind of against it, and it's like, what are we wanting out of a manager? I mean, he did his job. I don't think he was there long term. I don't think he was ever going to be the guy to get him, to that playoff race. But it is that guy that's like that veteran legend. And say what you will about Donnie Baseball, he's a legend.
Legend.
That guy's that guy's in baseball forever, and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
I think the Marlins are halfway in, halfway out. They're 1 foot out, 1 foot in, and it's always going to be that way.
Didn't more of that conversation, or conversations, plural, I should say, between the front office and Jeter come to light? Like, didn't we hear more about that after the fact? Wasn't it made clear that they just weren't ready to commit X amount of dollars or commit X amount of resources to putting together a winning club? Isn't that what he said? Or did he say something along those lines?
Something like that, I think.
Yeah, I think I'd have to go back and look at the comments, but I think what you saw is that when Jeter left, I mean, yeah, Mattingly came because Derek, that was Derek's endorsement. Derek's no longer there. And I am in 100% agreement that Don Mattingly is a great baseball guy. One, if you didn't know how good of a player he was and his career was shortened, he could have very well been a Hall of Fame player. He's a great player. He has great knowledge. But you're right. The Marlins at the time when Derek took over and they made the big Stanton trade, they were not ready to compete. And the Marlins, it looked like they were gaining ground. And the COVID year, short sample size, obviously, they made the playoffs. And they even, right? I'm not losing my mind here.
Yeah, no, they did.
So you had a glimpse of that. And Don Mattingly, if your team's closer to winning, can handle that situation. And I thought the hope probably was that in year 2 or 3, I would say this is his third year with the team.
Mattingly?
Yes.
No, this
Longer?
is his 7th.
5th? Oh,
Yeah, I
wow.
was gonna say
7
it's-
already?
He was there. He was there before
Whoa.
Jeter took over.
So-
Yeah.
So he stayed with because Jeter was there. And Mattingly, and that was the hope. You hope that you would have a guy that, even in LA, say what you want, he still did a good job with LA. He has experience. they weren't, whatever happened philosophically, they disagreed. And Mattingly, I don't blame him. I think it sounds like it was more of a mutual agreement, and probably the front office was, more ousting him than not. But it was not becoming a good situation for him. Because for his skill set, I think bringing him to a team that wants to win, I think is his best value. And the Marlins are in that weird sense of they're trying to rebuild, but they don't know what that rebuild looks like. And I'll tell you what, the Marlins, we talked about it, they have some good players down there.
They have the pieces. And they were
just
still
not
talking
all
about
there.
being sellers. They were still talking about being sellers on some of those pieces.
They were in the hunt at the All-Star break. Like,
There was an agreement to get Glaber from the Yankees for Pablo. That was good to go. The Marlins were good on that. And it's like, what are you trying to do? You have pieces that are in place. You have a rotation that's there. You have a Cy Young winner potentially this year. What are we doing?
Yeah, and then that's
I don't know.
the thing.
Who comes in next, though?
Yeah.
I got to take this jacket off. I'm dying.
no.
Sweaty
All right.
here.
The credibility is just, it is
Let me
plummeting.
drape it over the chair.
It's plummeting through the floor right now. Like, come on, dude.
that
You
over
show
the
up.
chair.
You show up in the jacket, only to take it off halfway through. I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah, just make yourself comfortable.
Yeah, dude. Just take it all off. Yeah, take the tie off. Take the shirt off.
The announcement is over, so.
So if you give a presentation and you say thank you for your time,
Cameras are off. I'm off the stage.
but are you off the stage? The camera's on in my mind. You know
Kinda.
what?
Kinda.
Irrelevant. It's not irrelevant. It's upsetting. Kyle, you can see Kyle's face.
It's 91 in Arizona with no fan on in here. You're going to accept this jacket being on the chair. Both of you. Balls are juiced.
I mean, I'm gonna choose what I accept and what I don't accept, and this is just one of those things I'm choosing
Very
not to
acceptable.
accept.
So how about this? What way do you want to see the Marlins go now? Because we talked about pieces. Kyle, if you're the Marlins and you're in that division, you have the Mets and you have the Braves. Where do they go? Because they really feel like they're a no. Like the Nationals we saw just did the whole we are starting over. The Phillies
And we've
are
said
buyers.
that we've said that. Credit to the Nationals. Like it albeit it took them a little longer than I think would have their fan base and organization as a whole would have expected. Nate, I can't take you seriously right now. So, at the end of the day, the Nationals did it. It took them a little longer than I think they would have liked. A lot of question marks with Soto up until the deadline, but they as slowly as the ripping of the Band-Aid took them, they did it. So
They made an effort. They made an effort.
They made it. They decided it was a conscious decision.
Legitimate offers too. They didn't lowball them. Those were good offers. That's the best offer you were going to get out of DC, and I give them credit for doing that. But the Marlins it's their 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They don't know who they are. They don't know who they are.
The thing that kills me for Mattingly is we talk about this all the time when guys get let go, or when we see Brandon Hyde, for example, a perfect example. That's actually the guy that comes to mind, where it's like you're gonna put him in a lose-lose situation. At least let him see it through. At least give him an opportunity to do something with the team that you dragged him along with, who is now at a point where they're capable of doing something. At least let him give him a shot.
Let me ask you this:
short as the shot is, give it to him.
If we're going to use that as a comparison, is the future brighter sooner for the Orioles than it is the Marlins?
Oh, it's without question.
I would say yes. I think the
also
Orioles
they
are a better
committed-
roster right now.
They committed to the process of what they wanted to do. And for being a smaller market team, the Orioles decided we need to build through the farm system. We're going to build all the way up, and then we were hoping that we would maybe be at this point, maybe a year or two later, but they're here now. The Marlins they kind of got to that point, but then didn't decide what they wanted to add. And Miami, it's a big market, right?
That's what I don't understand. Like, who doesn't want to go to Miami?
Well,
how do you struggle talking a free agent to come down to Miami?
So that there's just a lot. There's a lot of things there that you just wonder, and unfortunately, and it's actually Nate or Kyle. You bring up a great point when you bring it up with Hyde, because even with both teams, Marlins and Orioles, they are in tough divisions. You know, the Phillies spent now, and then the Braves look like a team that's going to continue to run, and the Mets now are fully invested, and they're probably going to have this window the next couple of years of being contenders. The Orioles went the way of we cannot keep up with those other teams. We can't keep up with the Yankees and Red Sox. We have to be more like Tampa Bay. So they committed to that, and they're hanging in there. The Marlins, they're gonna have to go all in one way or the other, and you're seeing the result of what's happening right now.
Whatever manager comes in is still gonna be a placeholder. It's not gonna be the forever guy, right? It's not gonna be the winning guy. Whenever they do finally turn that corner and become competitive, it's not gonna be this next guy. It's gonna be the guy after him. So why I don't understand why are you so mad at Mattingly? Why are you so upset with the job he's done? And whoever you bring in next, what's your sale? What are you gonna say? We're ready to go? We're ready to compete in this division? No.
But if I was Mattingly too, though, I'd want to be gone. Like, I'd want to be out.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, I think, is it fair to say, if you're in the situation, if you have higher aspirations, or you feel like you've seen the end of the road and see that there's not another avenue to explore, or you've explored every possibility, wouldn't you, if they even offered him back, I think I'd be in the same boat as him. I haven't looked all into the conversations, but for Mattingly, that's a hard thing to keep committing to. If you say he's been there for 7 years and you felt like it's been almost, besides the COVID year, it feels like kind of Groundhog Day for them, or Groundhog years. So I'm curious to see what happens with Mattingly, but that's going to be the Marlins' biggest thing, is what is your team? Give us what you want your team to be in the next 5 years. And you have to build to that plan. The Orioles said this. They did like a 7-year plan. Marlins need to have that plan, or it's going to be...
Well, it starts with stability in the front office. It starts with stability and all being on the same page in the front office. And the Marlins clearly don't have that. Not yet. Nope. So how are you going to get how are you going to get the product on the field to buy in? How are you going to get the clubhouse to buy in? It's not going to happen until the front office is fixed. So until they figure out who they want to be, they're still going to be this bottom-dwelling NL East team.
I will say, I think, just last thing, side note, I think they said best win percentage in the postseason in the last 25 years is the Marlins. It's because when they're in there, they do well.
I was going to say that's a relatively small sample size if we're being quite honest with you.
Hey, in 25 years, they got 2 championships, right?
I mean, where do we draw the line with the window?
Well,
here?
talk about what teams that have the Orioles haven't won in 39 years. The Cleveland Guardians haven't won since 60s, 50s. Yep.
Your dad made the last out of the last World Series that the O's won, no?
Yeah, it's the last time the Orioles have been in the World Series. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
That's
Talk about with the Marlins at least. So just keep this in mind. They've had the success. It's just for a team that's had recent World Series history, I would say in the last 25 years, it is interesting that they haven't found a system to get back to it, because that is an organization that in the past has had success.
This will be the 12th time in the last 13 years they'll finish with a losing record. So to your point, Ryan, yes, they have not even come close to sniffing a system that works for them. Which, again, to Nate's point, I just don't know how. From a recruiting standpoint, much less anything else outside of that, like, it shouldn't be that difficult to bring in names that you can put out as part of your product that would draw fans to your ballpark. I don't know. It just seems like everything's there for you. It's like they're sitting there trying to put the freaking square peg in a round hole, and everyone else in the room is looking at them going, well, it's pretty obvious where that needs to go. Yeah, what you're doing now, that's not it. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. He did say, he came out and said, well, I don't know if he said specifically. I may be paraphrasing here, but I don't think this is the end of Don Mattingly. He did not say that this was going to be the end for him altogether. So
I don't think it is.
We'll see if he ends up elsewhere, but as of right now, it's not going to be with the Marlins in 2023. We know that much. You know what else we know? We know that our friends over Big League Chew are our presenting sponsors, and they put out a great product. They're putting freaking round pegs in round holes all day, every day. That's all they do. They're just bagging wins left and right. It's impeccable.
They wake
Marlins,
up and just have W's for breakfast.
Marlins, take note.
Founded by former left-handed pitcher Rob Nelson, Big League Chew started from humble beginnings in the Portland Mavericks bullpen in 1977. For more than 40 years, the iconic pouches packed with shredded, flavorful bubble gum has become the number one shredded gum of athletes everywhere. Big League Chew has sold more than, I think we're up there. It says 900 million in this message, but let's just go for a billy. They've sold more than 1 billion pouches, and they're designated as the Hall of Fame bubblegum. Grab some gum and head to Big League Chew's social media channels, at Big League Chew on Twitter, at Big League Chew Gum on Instagram. Hit them up on TikTok as well to show off your Big League bubbles. You can also find a list of retailers that purchase any of their products directly from their website at bigleaguechew.com. BLC, Big League Chew. No conspiracies there, by the way.
Also, Portland Mavericks, what a team name. I love that so much.
Have you seen the documentary, Ryan? I don't know if
I have not yet. I need to. That needs to be my homework. Yeah. Homework assignment for the week.
Man. It is incredible. I think we're coming up on National Chewing Gum Day. Yeah, September 30th.
Nice.
So keep an eye out for some Big League Chew material. September 30th, National Chewing Gum Day. What else did I say we had to talk about? Oh, the Guardians clinching the Central. To the disbelief of many.
Yeah.
They earned it. That was the the AL Central team that truly did deserve to win that division.
I'm curious. You said that earlier before we hopped on. I'm curious what you mean by that.
So what I mean by that is the expectations the whole time was that the White Sox were going to make a run, that we were waiting, and that the other teams would fade. Minnesota faded. They fell out of the picture. So it felt like the White Sox, by default, because they seemed like the most talented team, would take over the division. Whether they fully deserved to win it, it felt like that was the way it was going to go. And why I'm saying that the Guardians earned it is because through all of the doubts, through all of the issues, they continued to hold their ground. And what was the stat right now? They've won 18 of their last...
I got some nuggets here for you, Ryan. Stand by. Tied for first place since September 4th, or they were tied for first place on September 4th. They had won 7 straight, and they've won 18 of 21 games to open up. I think they're, up 10 in the division now?
They clinched the division, yeah, obviously. But so that's my point about earning it.
This is the worst division in baseball.
They've
had
had
that nauseating to look at.
Looking outside of the division, they've had the best record in baseball since September 2nd at 18-6. So
they earned it. They were the team that no one was really considering to win that division. Like, they were not the favorite, obviously. We talked about the White Sox. People even thought the Twins, how they bought at the deadline. I was convinced the Twins were going to stay in there for a little bit of the run. But here's the Guardians, that all they do is continue to play good baseball. And I watched a series between the first game of the White Sox-Guardians series. The White Sox came back, took the lead. And even during the game, there was a play at the plate where the Guardians were safe, but they had no challenges left, and it was called out. They overcame that, found a way to tie the game late, and then in extra innings, they were taking extra bases, they were hustling hard, and then they just put it on the White Sox to put it away. They went to Chicago, and essentially they just took the soul out of the White Sox. So that's what I meant by earned it. And that's kudos to
They
Cleveland.
do the little things right. They definitely do the little things
And
right. They
and
hit
that
well.
matters.
They play good defense. Yeah, for sure.
Jose Ramirez is a great
But this is
player.
a product. This is a product of the worst division in baseball.
And it also helps that you're the youngest team in baseball too. Like, say what you want about talent, but there's something to be said for being the youngest team in baseball and being able to live up to the demands of a 162 at this point of the year when you're the youngest team in baseball.
And that's flat out. And that again,
Just
that's
from
even
just from
impressive.
purely a physical standpoint. I mean, we just got done. Well, Nate just got done railing on a 52-year-old Albert Pujols for being flat-footed and pushing
72
buttons.
at least.
72 at least. But you look at a team like the Indians, they don't have those same problems. So
It's interesting. I just looked at it too, by the way. So the Mariners swept the Guardians. And that last game was September 4th. So since that point, teams can go a lot of different directions. And so I'm staying with the earned it part. I get the divisions. But to close out in September, kudos to them. And I hope they make a run. Obviously, they're not my pick to come out of the American League. But if you had to take a team out of the Central, take the team that deserved it, and the Guardians deserved it.
headline writing has taken a turn. I saw some article the other day where it was like the Guardians went from something along the lines of like not even sniffing the postseason to being viewed as a legitimate World Series threat. And I said, okay, let's
Too much.
slow the roll just a little bit. Let's give them the credit where it's due. Like you said, Ryan, I'm with you. They earned it, and I certainly was not of the belief that they were gonna do what they've done thus far. That it's been impressive to watch. They're soaking it all up, and if you check out their social media, they're leaning hard into this whole nobody expected us to be here thing. And I love when teams do that. I love when teams do that, and that gives a little added mojo. But at the end of the day, a legitimate World Series threat.
No.
At the end of the day, I say that, but then I remember even in the last 5 years, we've seen crazier things happen in baseball. So I'm not gonna poo-poo that take or that title at all. I'm just saying, let's maybe take it with a grain of salt. That's all I'm saying.
If you're in, you got a shot.
It's true.
Simple fact.
If you're in, you got a shot. But yes, I mean, Nate, I can see you shaking your head over there. I know the AL Central to you is just disappointing.
Third place team in any other division. What's up with the Central? How do we fix the Central for both AL and NL? Because it's like, what are we doing? Bad baseball.
Well, okay, that you bring up an interesting point. Let's rewind a few episodes ago where I brought up the nugget that at that particular point in time, it was only but a couple weeks ago and I even posted I made like a mock standings and posted it. The Orioles at that particular point in time would have been leading the American League Central as like a fourth place team in the division. But do you feel differently about the Orioles World Series chances if they're in the same boat as the Guardians?
Are we talking to me, Nate? You?
I'm talking to Nate because Nate's saying, well, they'd be
me?
like a third.
Yeah,
they'd be
Nate.
like a third place team in any other division. Talking about the Guardians, but you've got the Orioles, and I don't think anybody would call the Orioles a legitimate World Series threat either. So I don't know. I get what you're saying, but I don't know if the standings argument or like the any other division argument, as you were saying, I don't know if that necessarily plays. Unless I'm misunderstanding what you're saying.
I'm saying it's the fact that it's what you said earlier, Ryan. It's you didn't win, I lost. That's what these other two teams should be saying. The White Sox and the Twins should be looking at the Guardians saying, we lost this. This was our division. This was built in for us, and we took it for granted.
Right, but we made the same argument for the Dodgers in 2020 where it's like any other team had the opportunity to do what the Dodgers did in 2020, but the Dodgers, they were the team that did it. You could look at the Guardians the same way and say, well, they could have flopped just as easily as those other teams in the division that were expected to do better, but they didn't. They've reeled off 18 of their last 21. I think, what did I say? They're up 10 in the division. Like, I see both sides of it, and to be honest with you, I still don't know where I stand on them because I'm like, you're hot right now, you're real hot, and I won't go as far as saying a World Series threat, but in terms of the division, I'll at least give them that. They've earned it. Like, yeah, the other teams flopped, but they showed up, they stepped up.
I'm excited to see what a young group does in the postseason for the first time, because the majority of those players are visiting for the first time. So it's going to be interesting.
I think also, just to point this out, we're saying when you're saying about like legitimate contenders, it's going through almost every single scenario where you have belief in them. Because this is like, for the example, the Astros and the Dodgers, because of their body of work, you feel comfortable with them. You can say that about the Mets. You can say that about the Braves, just from their body of work. Truly, when you get to the postseason, it becomes way more matchup based. And if you watch the Astros-Orioles series this week, the Orioles, and even when they played in Houston, the Orioles for some reason match up pretty well with Houston. Can't say there's no rhyme or reason why, but they play very tough against Houston. Cleveland could do the same thing with one of those teams, but you have to go off of what team in the playoffs do you believe, body of work, any matchup that they still could handle it. You see it across all sports. Some teams are the overall better team, but one team could be the thorn in the side. Maybe Cleveland can be that team for somebody, but we're gonna have to wait to see and find out what that's gonna be.
I mean, they did what they're supposed to do. What are you gonna ask them to lose games? They're not gonna lose games. They played well. They did well in their division. It's just the division is awful. Awful. So it's like, how much credibility do they have? They're 13-16 against the AL East. They're 18-16 against the AL West. They're 12-8 against the interleague. So I mean, they're middle of the road for any other division, but they're a 43-win team against their own division. It's because their own division is awful. And they're a 500 ball club if they're in any other division, in my mind.
Well, they're changing up we're talking about what could change. I mean, the scheduling is going to change next year. So right. So
they're playing everybody. There's less.
Everyone's playing. It's more distributed because right now I know the biggest talk when Kyle, you made the talk about how the Orioles would be in first as the fourth place team. It was a couple weeks ago. The AL East right now has been the most competitive division in baseball, and when you have to play each other 70 plus times, that's going to add up, no doubt. So I think that part to your question, Nate and Kyle, I think that's something that would help change the problem next year. And I'm curious. I really am curious how that would impact, because I definitely think it's going to impact, and it's going to make those games against your division even more important though next year because there's going to be less.
Less, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
just saying. I mean, you look at the other division leaders. The Yankees are 25-8 against the Central. Houston is 26-8 against the Central.
Taking care
bad
of business.
Baseball. It's just bad baseball in the Central. So I don't know how much credit we're going to sit here and really give the Guardians. I got to give them credit for being young, inexperienced, and I think there's a lot of guys on that roster that are trying to prove themselves and stay there, and you got to give them credit for that. But at the same time, like, are we going to sit here and say that they're really going to make a dent in this playoff run?
No, but I think we need to be careful to not make this sound like it's a Guardians problem. We say this at the beginning of every year, regardless who it is we think is going to come out of that division. We say, well, it'll be somewhat of a cakewalk for whoever comes out of the division just based on how many times they have to play their own division or play within their own division. But when it comes time for the postseason, it's a different story. So it's not just a Guardians thing. It could have very well been a White Sox problem. It could have been a Twins problem. We've already mentioned it, not to say that we thought that they were coming out on top, but we did think the Tigers and the Royals are going to be a little more competitive this year. It could have easily been their problem. So it's not just a Guardians thing. It just happens to be that they're the team that we're talking about right now because they've reeled off, again, 18 of the last 21. So they're the ones in this position. But
I'm not saying it's the Guardians' problem. I'm saying it's the Central problem.
No, I know, but I'm clarifying because, like I said, it on any given year, and it's been like this for a while now, and I there hasn't been much change. It could be any team's problem out of that division come October.
Winning's still hard at the end of the day. Winning's still hard. Winning 18-21 down the stretch, even if it's a not as strong of a division, that's still earning it. You took the opportunities in front of you, and to go 18-3, still deserve credit.
Closing the book. Got a few items here to wrap us up with before we get out of here. First and foremost, I want to tell you guys about SeatGeek. In case you guys hadn't heard about SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the answer to all your ticket needs. You're looking for tickets, you have plans of friends or family to make it to an upcoming game or concert, or you're even looking months ahead to nail down a date to get tickets before they sell out. With SeatGeek, you can find tickets, games, concert shows, and even theater performances with just a few easy clicks. Or make it even better for you if you're a first-time user SeatGeek. Next time you add some tickets to your cart, use our promo code 30TAKE. That's our social handle at checkout to save $20 instantly. $20 instantly off your first purchase as a first-time user. It's all you got to do to save some of that
cold hard cash.
Enter promo code 30TAKE. That's our social handle at checkout.
I used SeatGeek this weekend, actually. Last minute decided to go to a game. Super easy. $5 for a ticket getting in.
Well, you could have had SeatGeek paying you $15 to go to the game if you would have. I'm guessing that's how it works. I don't know. I've never tried that.
I don't know how it works, but all I'm saying is
sense.
for people, it's
it
simple.
makes sense.
It does make sense, but it's simple. It was easy for me, and I am not too great with those apps. Well, easy access.
I'm glad for the resounding review from our friend Ryan. That's good. That's because it's been a minute because I haven't gone to many games this year. So
yeah, when you
I
do, you
go
have
to
the
the same
front row
opportunities.
seats. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we don't need to go laying everything out there like that, but
we're not on SeatGeek.
If it makes you feel better, I haven't even gone in those seats this year.
I was told by the usher. She was wondering where you'd been. She said, "Where's Ryan?
Hiding.
Where are all of them?" I said, "You would think this year, more than any, they'd be here."
Hey, just because you're not there doesn't mean you don't care or follow. You know.
I can get on board with that. I have an appreciation for that. Closing the book. We mentioned the Mariners already. As you mentioned, Ryan, it's pretty much their race to lose at this point. It's pretty much down. The wild card picture as a whole, we're down to two races. It's pretty much the Mariners and the Orioles, and then the Phillies and the Brewers. The Phillies and the Brewers. Yeah. Yep. So other than that, playoff picture is pretty much set. And Ryan, you may feel differently about this. I'm kind of out at the O's on the O's at this point. So
odds are if you go on, the playoff percentage for the Orioles is down 2.03%. But you're telling me there's a chance.
You're telling me there's a chance.
You never know. 10 games.
The only reason they're still only 4 games back is because the Mariners decided to give up an 11 spot to the Royals on Sunday, which not just like over the course of the game, like that one inning.
Yeah.
What's more impressive in that the Mariners scored 10 straight runs between the 5th and the 6th inning, or then that they, after giving up the 10 runs, or after scoring 10 runs in a row, then they proceeded to give up 11.
The 11 is far more impressive.
I think so.
Given that it immediately
because they put
followed.
up an 8 spot in the 5th, 2 in the top of the 6th, so you're feeling really great, and then the bottom of the 6th. Take a honey, take a picture. Here's an 11 spot.
You can't be doing that at this point in the season. Like you just got to find a way to stop the bleeding. You can't do that.
Well, the Mariners have light work the rest of the way out. I wouldn't worry too much.
They got like a top 3 easiest schedule, I think, don't they?
Rangers, A's, Tigers. That's who they're finishing up with.
Still got to play. You never know.
They're 29th in terms of strength of schedule. So literally the only team with an easier schedule, the Angels.
The Orioles have a real uphill battle.
So just you're telling me there's a chance.
It's real heavy AL East down the stretch for that division. Pete Alonso breaks the franchise record for RBIs with 125. So
never heard of her.
Tip of the cap to Pete Alonso. Which, take a picture. You're not gonna see me giving Pete Alonso credit all that often.
It's the last, the first and last time.
First and last, possibly.
Yeah.
Dodgers tie a franchise record for wins at 106. So, barring a collapse, looks like they're gonna cruise to a new franchise record, which is surprising.
It's
I feel
surprising because they're not even like, I don't even think they're at full like normal strength, and I'm not even talking about like health wise. I'm talking about like you're not even, well, kind of health wise, losing Walker and Kershaw barely played, and it's like Max Muncy was a shell of himself. It's like, it's weird that this team did that all years.
This was the team to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with just the powerhouses they've had in years past, like their World Series team. Not that they're winning. I was more so saying 2018, like the 2018 World Series team.
Yeah.
Like, surprised that they didn't do it. I don't know. It's hard to believe. And lastly, I don't know if we touched on it yet, but Tony La Russa announced he would not return in 2022. To be quite honest with you, I would have made this more of a larger point of discussion had the White Sox done what they needed to do over the course of the last week and a half. But since that early run they made with under Cairo,
they're dead.
Yeah, they've just fallen.
Yeah, and but it also just felt like that. I know that they were more cryptic about what was happening or being out indefinitely. It just felt like when he was away, it didn't feel like he was coming back this year. So now it's just like for Nate, just going out and saying what he's thinking, the White Sox just finally confirmed it, even though that was in people's minds for the last few weeks to a month.
Blow it up in Chi-Town.
Nah.
I don't think you need to do that.
Different things happening. I mean, Jose Abreu was in a walk year, right? He's done. He's a little bit older, so it's like, what do you do at first base? Do you bring him back? I think Yasmani is done. We're going into a contract year. I don't remember.
I think that could be something we could really get into next time. But I do think that the White Sox, though, they do have some really good pieces there, and I believe that they'll have some players bounce back. But as we've seen, Cleveland, we just talked about how young Cleveland is. Whatever the White Sox do, they have to bounce back quickly, or the young Bucks in Cleveland are going to continue to get better.
Fair.
And lastly here, just a somber farewell to the latest teams to be eliminated, one of which being the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Boston Red Sox. That's about all I got.
Oof.
Hey. It's okay, Kyle.
It's about all I got. I'm smiling, but on the inside, I couldn't be more dead. So,
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just glad the pain's over. Well,
if you were to
it's
have
not completely over. We got about 10 games worth of pain left, but it's fine.
One word to describe this season. Be creative here. What do you got?
Expected.
What?
Wow.
This was not expected.
Last place finish in the American League.
It's more of a hindsight expected, and I say expected. I don't mean expected from the perspective of opening day. I'm saying you get to a certain point of the year, and I'll admit I was probably a little too much on board with what I thought they were capable of doing with what they had, but it gets to a certain point of the year, and I'm going, you're not making an effort to do anything. Like Tommy Pham, that's Eric Hosmer, that's what you're going to do, and that's what I go back to what
did
I already
Hosmer
said.
even play down? I mean, when's the last time he's even suited
No,
up?
apparently he's possibly maybe coming back for like a couple games at the end of the season. I don't know what the deal is with him, but he hasn't played a minute. So further adding to my point here, but it's like, as I've said it before, it goes to show that last year was maybe more of a fluke than people want to let on, because you can't. That's exactly what Heim tried to do. He tried to replicate his efforts last year by not going out and necessarily making a splash, but piecing it together with at the time, not superstar names. Kyle Schwarber obviously goes on this year to hit 40 plus, so that's a little different. But at the time, you're going, okay, well, I mean, this isn't exactly the greatest move at the deadline, the most newsworthy or splash-worthy move at the deadline, but they go on two wins shy of a World Series. It's like, okay, maybe we got something going here. Doesn't change his philosophy or his approach going into this season. The same thing happens, except far worse. The same thing happens in terms of what he attempts to do with what he has, and you can see now that it didn't pan out the way that he maybe had hoped for. And I'm looking back at it going, at a certain point of the year, you had to have come to the conclusion that this was the reality of what you were dealing with.
Fluky. Real fluky.
Hey, Kyle, it's going to be okay.
It's not going to be okay.
It's good. It's
It's
okay.
been a long off season. Oh.
Nate
Thanks.
will just, Nate will, I'll be, again, I'm Mr. Positive with this group. It's going to be okay. And Nate can just really send it home for you.
I'm ready to have my heart broken in the next few weeks, so it's okay.
Well, hey, we'll stay tuned for that.
Nate's delirious. He's like, whatever, man. I don't care.
Ew.
I think Ryan, of the three of us, Ryan's probably in the best boat of all of us. Like, we already know the reality of what's going to happen with the Yankees this year. The Red Sox have been out of this thing since freaking July. Ryan, they didn't do what many of us would have liked to have seen, but they gave you an entertaining run. They gave you.
I think any baseball fan would say what the Orioles did was a extremely entertaining run, and it's not over. Again, you got to play it out. You truly never know.
Never say die.
Never say die. But here's the thing, and it's a constant reminder. As exciting as the future could look in Baltimore, and as disappointing of the season it can be in Boston, you don't know how it's going to turn out until you go and play next year. You can have all these expectations or thoughts. Expectations were higher for Boston this year. Expectations were sky high for New York, and they still are. That's why I said earlier, it doesn't matter if the Yankees went on their skid or not this season. They don't make it to the World Series. It's a failure. Winning's hard. Winning in Major League Baseball is hard. So stay tuned. Stay tuned on next season. But we still got a lot of great baseball to watch, boys. A lot of great baseball.
I'm excited.
A wonderful sign off.
You got anything else for the people?
Solid
gentlemen?
ending.
If not, Ryan, it's all you, guy.
Nope, that's it. That was my sign off. But guys, remember as always, happy Monday, and it's a great day to have a day. Have a wonderful week.
I regret nothing. Don't go chasing curveballs.
We love you all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.